All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting. Quick intro for myself, for the new faces in the crowd. My name is Or Morales. I did 9.5 years in the Marine Corps. And then
my friend's daughter cut off half of her hair this morning. Like, you want to see it? She's like 5.
Whoever that is that their friend or whatever got cut off, you can mute yourself, please.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, did 9.5 years in the Marine Corps. I was a C-53 Super Stallion pilot. And then, jumped into real estate via the Skill Bridge program with the Grill Group. Got paired up with an awesome team in Hawaii. Had a phenomenal first year. Did over 15 million in volume. And yeah, it's been an awesome experience. I'm actually standing here in office in Tucson, Arizona, visiting family on my way back from a spearfishing trip in Mexico. And in order to take that trip, I didn't have to put a leave request. I didn't have to ask my boss to allow me to go to Mexico. I didn't have to do anything strange like that. Any PowerPoints about the dangers of Mexico. I went over there. Some of my West Point classmates had a good time, caught some big fish, ate a lot of fish, donated some fish to the locals. And yeah, it was a great time. But that freedom comes from this profession that you guys are entering in, that I've been in for a year now. And what got me into this industry, one of the seeds that was planted by my mentor and stepfather, and he's also the VP of Altitude Home Loans, and he's standing right here next to me. You might see me walking around his background. So we have a little bit of a different forum here today. It's gonna be a question and answer. So this is Mr. Joel Chavez, over 25 years of experience. He's also a real estate investor himself, has bought multiple homes, flipped them, also has some properties renting out as well. And so we're going to be just doing a question and answer and turning it over to Mr. Chavez now for a quick intro.
Hello, everyone. Just want to say, first of all, thank you for your service. You got that one out? Okay. And I've been, like Sora said, I've been in this business for 25 years. I am a mortgage lender, and 85% of my business is real estate business. So I deal a lot with real estate agents on a daily basis. And like he said, he just came back from Cabo. I just came back from Cancun. And I actually worked from there. I didn't stop working. So pretty much we are self-employed, like he said. So there's no need to be punching in, punching out. But it is a business where you have to make sure that you show up on a daily basis. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks, Sora, for inviting me. And I guess we're going to go to questions and answers, Sora.
Yep. So I'll open up with questions. And anyone else that if you have a question, he's licensed here in Arizona as well as California. But over 25 years of experience. So regardless of where you are, he'll be able to answer those questions. Experience with VA, FHA, all the different flavors of loans. And he's had a real passion for like making miracles happen for people that have been here for a long time and just never bought a property before and horrible credit, or people that are first generation Americans that migrated from Mexico or wherever they came from and having a hard time buying a home because they have no credit at all, and just making miracles happen. So whatever questions you have, you can use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen. It has a little smiley face with a plus sign that says reactions. You click on that, it'll bring up a little hand gestures. Click the raise hand button, and I'll call on you in the order that you raise your hand. Another option is to drop your question in the chat box. But all right, so I'll open up with the first question. What are the words of wisdom you have for new agents that are just stepping into the business based off of experiences you've had with people who are relatively new to the business?
Okay, so I've had some new agents that come into this business. Excuse me. They try to learn everything. That's kind of one of the biggest faults. They try to learn all the laws, all the regulations, all the rules. My suggestion is to get your feet wet. Start marketing. The first thing that you need to do is send out your business cards to everybody that you know. Get a contract and get your feet wet, and then you'll be learning the laws. You'll have mentors teaching you everything. But the first step, I would say, is get out there and get business. Be consistent, be proactive, get creative. Yes, follow all regulations, but at the same time, that's not going to get you the business.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, getting out there, talking to people, to do get wrapped up in flashy things and being the on every single law, which is great. But yeah, definitely, my first year, I definitely learned.
You're not going to know everything, but just if someone asks something, just to get back to them. Make sure you tell them, hey, I'll follow up on that and get back to you. And make sure you do in a timely manner. But very important, just go out there, hustle, get business from relatives. Hanging fruit, your relatives, friends, someone knows someone that is looking to purchase.
All right, we'll go to our first question. You can unmute yourself, Guadalupe, and go ahead and ask your question.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Please speak around.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, can you ask that again, Guadalupe?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, nice to meet you. My name is Guadalupe. I'm currently in the Marine Corps. I got like 4 more months left till I officially get out. It's been a fun journey, but I'm really excited to go ahead and get into the real estate industry. But I want to go ahead and be a real estate investor above all. But of course, with that, you need capital. So my kind of game plan is become a real estate agent, make those transactions like maybe 1-2 years, but obviously be active and be actively investing as well. Like any tips on that from either of you guys?
Yes, the first thing that you need to do to start investing is, and I'm not sure if you're a homeowner, but buy your principal residence. Stop renting, because that's going to be your future investment. First start with your primary residence, and as you get into this business, you will see that there's a lot of ways to finance properties at no money down. You'll get opportunities of sellers doing a owner carryback. So that means that they'll finance the property for you.
That's like creative financing, right?
I'm sorry?
That's creative financing right there?
Yes, there's also private investors. If there are opportunities where you can just buy a fixer-upper at a low price, you can just get a private investor to lend you the money, even to lend you the money to fix it up. And once it's fixed up, you just refinance it, and you got another property there for either to flip or to rent.
So I got another question then. So I was looking to utilize my VA loan so I can buy a property. I want to go ahead and get a quadruplex, but since I'm still in the military and about to get out, and I'm about to be a real estate agent, I'm considered W-2 getting out. They told me that I need some sort of like my income tax for 2 years in order to qualify for a VA loan. So that's out of the picture for now. And you said there's other ways to go ahead and finance. What are some other ways you can finance a property that off the gates, I guess?
Like, your question is to finance it after you get out of the military, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there are other loan products where you would have to wait at least 1 year. If you're going to become a real estate agent right after you leave the military, you would have to wait at least 1 year. There are lenders that require at least 1 year self-employed, because you will be considered self-employed. Now, if you work as a real estate agent and they pay you a salary, that's different. You can just buy right away if you get a W-2 versus a 1099. Can
you do both? Because I was thinking about that. I was like, is there a way I can technically get a salary and then go based off commissions as well?
Yes, you can get both. This business is all about commissions, all about, but they will start you. The issue with that is they will start you, if you have both salary and commission, your salary will be very minimal, which might hinder you to purchasing a property right away. It's all about the commissions.
I see. Okay, well, thank you for answering that. You definitely opened my eyes. There's a lot of ways to go ahead and get creative in general. So
yeah, and in fact, just to give you guys I've had clients purchase duplexes, triplexes, where you live in one unit and then the rental income from that same property just pays off your mortgage. So you're pretty much living rent free. So that's one of the ways that if you're going to start, if you're going to just immediately start buying a brand new home and let's just say it's just you and your spouse, or it's just you, I would suggest getting a multi-unit property where the other units pay, and we can use that rental income as well. So
that's exactly what I'm trying to do, actually. Like, I feel like I have the exact knowledge. I just haven't applied it. I mean, I'm just about to get out the military too, so.
yeah, so we can use that to qualify. So there's a lot of ways, and in the future, you turn in that duplex, triplex, fourplex into an investment property and go use your VA loan in the future to buy a single family residence as your primary residence.
All right, we'll keep the questions flowing. Go to Liz Caraballo next. Liz, if you
Hi.
can-
Hey, can you hear me, gentlemen?
Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm Liz, Marine also. I'm in California right now. And I've been trying to move to Florida, like when my EAS date is up. So with that, the hardest thing for me is tying my income to Florida to use my VA home loan, which is like really crazy because I mean, like my husband is like a Marine also, and you know, he makes enough money to like afford the mortgage with just his disability and like his money that he makes, but they don't count that as income. So the hardest thing, I guess, is trying to figure out like how to tie your income to the state before you move there, without like a W-2 or anything. Like, because I'm technically active duty right now, so I could like on paper afford it. It's just that because I'm in California, I keep running into that hiccup. So I was wondering if like maybe using like an FHA loan, like a 203K would be better, because we are trying to get a property to fix and flip.
In Florida?
In Florida.
Okay, so you guys are trying to purchase, if you're going to use your VA benefits, it would have to be a primary residence that you would be purchasing in Florida, correct?
Right. Yeah, so with that, what I've you know kind of come across is that you have to have that like intent to live there. So I don't know if that's really like the back way around it, or if instead of you know flipping it, we just end up renting it out. I feel like it's probably what we're going to end up doing. So yeah, I don't know. I guess my question is do you know how to get not necessarily like around it, but like
So,
yeah,
so I will tell you this: when you speak to the loan officer,
just
say my intent. Don't ever say my intent is to rent it out eventually.
okay.
Just say we are going to move there. Is your husband just on like disability income, or does he work?
So this whole year he has been on disability income because he also goes to school full time.
Okay.
He just got a job on Camp Pendleton. He's like a network administrator, but they don't have that same contract. So we're trying to move to Jacksonville. He wouldn't be able to like switch to remote or anything if we leave California.
If you work from remote, you can always say, hey, I'm staying back, and he's going to go live there immediately.
Okay.
And you can speak to any loan officer. Maybe you need to speak to another loan officer. I've done that before. In fact, I'm doing a couple of transactions right now where people are moving from California to Arizona. And what they're doing is the wife, and they're married, the wife is saying that she's moving down and he's going to be living with parents up until he finds another job here in Arizona. So we can do that. And just basically tell a loan officer that is our intent. Don't say we eventually are going to, we're just going to flip it and rent it, because they're going to say, well, that's not the intent. But if you guys do qualify, in fact, even if you can get a letter that he can work remotely in any place, and that's even better.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, being like both Marines that have that ability to use the like VA home loan, like it's a great loan.
Yeah.
But if we're not, how do you feel about using? Because I've been really like looking into a 203K loan, and I mean the only thing that I've seen the difference between the benefits in the VA home loan is that you don't have to put anything down. But if you can afford to put something down, how do you feel more towards like one versus the other?
That's a good question as well, because a lot of people say, well, I have $10,000 more to put down. For every $5,000, your payment will only decrease by $25. So I tell people, if you can just keep that 5,000, you're only saving $25. You're going to need that 5,000 to move, to buy new curtains, furniture, and all that. So it's not a big. My suggestion is the less you can give down, the better.
Okay.
So, it's better to have money in your hand, to have, just in case you need reserves for extra payments. If something, if you have a bad month financially, you have extra money to pay your bills per se.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
But you can, if you're you can stay behind, and you can say, my husband's moving over there, he can work remotely. They should be able to count it as an owner occupied home. Now,
Okay.
when you stay behind, you're going to say, are you guys currently renting or?
Yeah, currently we're renting right now.
Yeah, so they're going to probably hit you with both that rental and your current mortgage payment. Okay.
Okay.
And I have just another little quick tip. I have people saying that they're going to move out and live with their parents. If you have like local parents, you're going to move out until you transition to Florida.
Okay, so we have roommates right now. So with that, I think I don't know if that would work out in our favor, because what we pay for rent is like a lot lower than what normal people would be paying out here in California. So I don't know if that would end up helping us, so it wouldn't be showing that as debt.
It will, but I would suggest that you pay, like, for example, if you can write out a check, or if you Zelle the money, however you do it, just always don't just pay cash, because it's untraceable. So at least you have a record.
Okay.
I only pay, we have roommates, and I only pay, even though the contract says $2,000 a month, I only pay $500 a month.
Okay.
And here's my bank statement showing $500 for rent per month.
Okay.
And they'll be able to use that. And make sure that the lease is also under everybody's name. So if the lease is just under, let's say, your name only, they're not going to be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're all on it. So I think that'll be okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking a question. All right, we'll go to the next person. I believe Jasmine Morales had a question. I don't know if maybe it was the same one. Jasmine?
Hi there. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a quick question going back to what Guadalupe was talking about. You said, like, for example, if I were to use a VA loan, buy a multifamily home, like a duplex or triplex, and then rent out the other one, but it would still be used as my primary residence.
Correct, because you would
still tell them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would still, like, if I were to do the house hacking, like, I would still tell them that I wanted to live there, and that would still be considered my primary residence, even if I rent out the other ones.
Yes. As long as you live in one of the units, on a fourplex, let's say, we would use the rental income from the other 3 units.
And would they have to know that part, that the other 3 are being rented out? Or is it best that they know?
No, it could actually be vacant. When we do the appraisal, the appraiser will do a rental analysis of how much you can rent each unit, and they can use that as income.
Okay.
Okay, but one more quick thing. So if they're all occupied, there has to be something. They will require a letter stating that from the listing agent, saying that they gave a notice to one of the tenants to move out, whichever unit you would be occupying.
Could you repeat that again?
So if you're purchasing a fourplex and they're all occupied, they will require, the underwriter will require something from the listing agent saying that they gave notice to the tenant of the unit that you would be moving into.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Thank you. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay, good question.
Thank you.
All right, next question, Aaron Ulrich.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, thanks for taking this call. I was curious, as far as kind of along the same line of thinking, is how often do they do in these unique situations mortgage checks on the property? For instance, you were talking about some of those where, you know, it may be owner occupied, but it may be delayed for a couple of months. How does that, and is there any, you know, concerns where you intend to move into it, but you don't move in as quickly? And, you know, are they doing mortgage checks that are going to, you know, essentially trip you up in that process?
Where I've seen mortgage checks are in the utilities. So if you say you're going to occupy the home and the utilities remain under the tenant's name, they have a way of checking the utilities somehow. And that's the mortgage check that I'm most familiar with. So make sure that as soon as you move in, the utilities are under your name for at least a period of 6 months to a year. Good. Answer your question, Aaron?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
a good answer. And that's what I had heard, that it was mostly utilities. There's no actual physical check. They're not going and asking neighbors, that kind of stuff. So
No. And just make sure, like, if anybody knocks on on the door and says, "Hey, is Aaron here?" You know, he's out. Who are you, and can you leave a message? That's it.
can I ask a quick follow-on?
Okay, go ahead.
I was just curious, as far as with interest rates rising, is there any recommendations? Typically, investment type properties are going to have a higher mortgage. Is there any other types of, you know, have you seen more availability where it's either owner financed, or you can get a loan that's transition, you know, assumable mortgage? Have you seen any of those, or are those still few and far between? Thank you.
No, we are actually transitioning more into that. In fact, Soar and I were just talking about one transaction where one of his deals up in Hawaii, they're going to be doing an assumable loan at I think it was 2.375, something like that. So it's great deal. Now that the rates are up, we're going to see a lot more assumable transactions, and even seller carrybacks, for that matter.
Thank you.
I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of people have mortgages where they're at a 2-3% rate. So I can do a seller carryback. You know, Aaron, hey, give me 10% down and I'll finance you the remaining at 6%. So I'll still be making money. You know, as an investor, I'll make interest on the money that I even owe. So it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Are there typically any restrictions that the lender then provides that, you know, ideally they maybe say locked in at 2.5%, but if it's a you know, normally are assumable at like 6 or 7.5, is there any restrictions that the lenders are putting on investors from that standpoint?
No. The only thing is you would have to probably come up with a difference depending on what, you know, if it's a big amount, you know, you can probably, I was thinking you can probably just get a line of credit to come up with the remaining amount. Let's say they only owe 400,000 and they're selling it for 6. You know, you could assume that 400,000, but what's going on with the remaining 2? You would have to figure that out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for asking the question, Aaron. All right, next person, whoever owner is, you have your hand raised, and go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, so I'm trying to get a DSCR loan. Do you have any advice on getting that loan, or any, I guess, experience with those?
Yes, I mean, DSCRs are very popular right now because they qualify you. Just basically the rental income offsets your payment pretty much. So it's a very good loan. It's very popular right now for investors. So a DSCR loan pretty much basically it goes 1-to-1 on as far as on the rental income. So if your rental income covers your mortgage payment, you don't need any more qualification. You don't need any more qualification than that. But of course, there's higher higher down payments depending on your credit score, and then of course higher rates on that as well.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, go to the chat box. Got some questions in there. So Dan Holes said, currently doing fix and flips in Southern California. How do you see the market moving forward for risk while using hard money to buy the cash properties?
Oh man, it is a little bit risky right now because of what the market is doing. But if you're buying the home at a very low value, I would suggest, trying to get it fixed up and flipped right away. You will probably have to give some incentives so people can buy your home as far as like closing costs, but there's still a lot of money to be made in the real estate business at this point. So there, and again, there are going to be more opportunities out there as far as there's people still, there are people losing jobs or trying to get rid of some homes. So there are a lot of opportunities. So don't let the rates affect decision. It's just, if it makes sense, if you're buying a property at 200,000 and you can sell it for 400, even though you do a hard money loan and have a 12-14% interest rate on that while you flip it, go ahead and do it. There's a lot of money to be made.
All right, next question was from Dustin Villano. Going through a federal hiring process that will more than likely be moving me out of California mid to late next year. I want to continue real estate as well as, and I'm curious what process would be for when moving states. Would I have to redo the entire licensing course for whichever state we move, or is there, so that's kind of like a more licensing related question. Yeah, you would have to get licensed in whatever state you're going to if you intend to do transactions in that state. But some states will carry over your license from the other state. They might have a just minimal requirement. You wouldn't have to go through the full syllabus. You can just do the test and get your license renewed.
Correct.
Casey Leapy, if you want to use your VA loan for multifamily, he's just adding a comment, I guess, please ensure it's less than 4 units. Yep. So VA loan, you can do up to 4 units. And like Joel touched on, you can use the rental income from those properties to qualify for the loan. So if I intend to live in one of the 4, and let's say I only qualify for $100,000, and the other 4 unit or the other 3 units, I'm going to rent out for whatever it is required to qualify for the value of the home, which is, let's say it's 500,000. And so I'm going to be renting it out for enough money to make that mortgage of, let's say, $4,000 or $5,000. And so if I'm able to pay and then
because again, I never saw them, so
rental income, so other people paying the mortgage for me, I can use that to qualify. Other questions? Are there any lenders or agents you guys would recommend with doing the VA loan? Yeah, there's lots of them. Again, Joel is licensed in California and here. One of the questions I wanted to ask that's really beneficial for everyone to understand, especially when I was first getting into the business. What's the benefit? So you're like a boutique is the way some people refer to it, or a mortgage banker, a boutique lender. What's the benefit of working with someone like you? So you live here in Tucson, Arizona, licensed here in Arizona and California. I work with lenders that are in Hawaii, licensed in Hawaii, and live there on the Hawaii time zone. What's the benefit of working with someone like you versus Rocket Mortgage or one of those bigger corporations?
The main benefit is that you will be dealing with me throughout the whole process. Even though I have a team, I'm always involved in the transaction. I'm always calling you, following up. You can always call me on my cell phone during the transaction. And with the other lenders, what's happening is that it's just, they're all transactional, in where they call you, someone takes, someone just handles the application. They don't know anything about the guidelines, or they know very minimal. They collect a check for the appraisal, they order the appraisal. So you're spending money and not knowing if you qualify. So they start with those big companies, they actually collect all your documentation plus an appraisal check. They order the appraisal, if it's a refinance in this case, or if it's just like even purchases, they get the contract, and you're not pre-qualified until you talk to either a loan officer or an underwriter. The property may not even qualify and you already spent your money on inspections. You probably have 1,000, 2,000 out of your pocket when you find out that you don't qualify. So it's with us, we do all that preliminary stuff before. We're always available for you. There's a loan officer. I am directly in contact with an underwriter. And if there's any concerns with the property or anything, up front. You're not like, I've had people call me and they already have their furniture in a U-Haul and they've been told by their lender that they don't qualify. And it's a very stressful transaction because everybody's stressed out, everybody's yelling at each other. I get the transaction. It's not going to close right away because we have to get title reports under our names and everything. So it's probably another week we can have delay. And it's just very stressful. So it's better to deal with a loan officer directly that has knowledge, experience in all these products.
Shifting topics, this other question, any recommendations on seller financing? My wife and I have an opportunity with the family member selling us their 2-unit home. So any recommendations? So my, I was talking to a friend that's based in Nashville, and there is a lot of risk associated with that. I'm not sure this over to Will to speak on his experience with that, but there's risk in this particular case with a family member selling. As long as you guys have good relations and stuff, and nobody's going to get skeptical of, and nobody's going to get lazy with making payments, then it'll be a smooth process. But if you're just dealing with somebody random and the trust isn't necessarily there, or if there's a big risk of you not being able to make the payments, or whoever the person is that's buying, it could, all that money put towards the payment of the home, it could all be lost, because a lot of times it's, if you miss one payment, boom, you're done, contract's over, move out. And all the money you paid is now belongs to the seller.
I have a seller finance. The best thing that you can do is go through title, go through an escrow company, make sure that there's no liens. You can have like a nice relative and, come to find out he owes back pay on child support and there's a big judgment against him that's tagged to the house. You end up paying the house and there's like a $200,000 lien against it. So go to title company, have them put the house under your name, make the payments directly to the title company. So there's always record of it. And that will eliminate a lot of, problems with even relatives or even other people. My suggestion is always use a title company to do a search and make the payments to the title company, put the house under your name and let them be the lien holder. And if they own a mortgage, it's called a wrap, so they can wrap the mortgage. So whenever you make the payment, they can pay, they can send the payment to the mortgage company and then the remaining amount to the seller. So that's my best suggestion. I mean, do not ever, just shake hands and not do title search and all that. You're gonna regret it.
Great question. All right, next question, and we're at halfway through the hour, so if I want to be respectful of people's time. If you had to go, you're welcome to leave. But if you want to stick around and ask more questions or just listen in on the answers, you're welcome to stick around. We'll stick around a little bit longer. So the next question is from Ismael Juarez. Is it feasible or possible to live in one state but do real estate in another? It's another real estate related question. Yeah, you could do that, but
it's going to be an investment loan, so 20-25% down. When it's multi-unit properties, they usually require 25% down. On a single family residence, they require 20% down.
As far as buying a home, yeah.
That is correct.
And then as far as being licensed, you would, if you're, like I could be licensed in Texas and have like a big YouTube following and do referrals there and even maybe do transactions online, but who wants to work with somebody online when you're in person? I mean, it is possible, but in-person interactions are better. Arab, based on the seller finance, we are the buyers and would be renting it out and the home is paid off. And yes, I was more curious about how to make it as official as possible. Like you're saying, will we be able to get contact information for you, Joel? My wife and I want to see what we qualify for now, what we can potentially
Correct.
Yeah, I'll drop Joel's contact information in the chat box.
Yes. And you can look at you can get my contact information at joelchavez.com as well. And that's JOELCHAVEZ.com.
All right. If I missed any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat box again. I think I went through all of them. Any other questions in the audience? You can raise your hand or you can drop it in the chat box. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Hope you guys benefit from this experience. And again, just adding to the idea of having like a relationship with your lender. You need to like understand how they operate, the hours that they work on, the responsiveness, all that. And you need to be on the same page with that. And then also just the aspect of the local lender in Hawaii. That's huge because we're 3 hours, currently 2 hours behind California. So like the closest part of the United States. And then if I was dealing with some lenders that are based in like Tennessee or even New York, it'd be a huge pain in the butt. One of my clients was trying to work with USAA, and what you run into a lot of times is you got homes, they want to put in an offer, and you need that pre-approval letter, and a lot of times they'll already have it because they'll just send you this blanket email with the PDF in there that you can use on whichever property. But sometimes it helps to have those extra little details where like on the pre-approval letter, it has the address of the house that they're wanting to purchase, just adding all the fluff to win the hearts of the sellers. And if you're reaching out to somebody at a big bank where you're dealing with a phone network where you got to cycle through talking to all these different people and hand it off, or it's just all email, you might get a response within even 24 hours. You might be waiting a couple of days and you miss out on the opportunity to help your client get a home.
Correct.
So yeah, definitely talk to local lenders, build those relationships, and strengthen them throughout the course of multiple transactions. All right, thanks everyone. Hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. And again, you guys can reach me at joelchavez.com if you have any questions. Call me on my cell or text message me. More than happy to continue answering any questions. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting. Quick intro for myself, for the new face in the crowd. My name is Or Morales. I did 9.5 years in the Marine Corps. And then
my friend's daughter cut off half of her hair this morning. Like, you want to see it? She's like 5.
Whoever that is, like their hand's friend or whatever got cut off. You can mute yourself, please.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, did 9.5 years in the Marine Corps. I was a C-53 Super Stallion pilot. And then, jumped into real estate via the ScaleBridge program with the Grill Group. Got paired up with an awesome team in Hawaii. Had a phenomenal first year. Did over 15 million in volume. And yeah, it's been an awesome experience. I'm actually standing here in an office in Tucson, Arizona, visiting family on my way back from a spearfishing trip in Mexico. And in order to take that trip, I didn't have to put a leave request. I didn't have to ask my boss to allow me to go to Mexico. I didn't have to do anything strange like that. Any PowerPoints about the dangers of Mexico. I went over there. Some of my West Point classmates had a good time, caught some big fish, ate a lot of fish, donated some fish to the locals. And yeah, it was a great time. But that freedom comes from this profession that you guys are entering in, that I've been in for a year now. And what got me into this industry, one of the seeds that was planted by my mentor and stepfather, and he's also the VP of Altitude Home Loans, and he's standing right here next to me. You might see me walking around his background. So we have a little bit of a different forum here today. It's gonna be a question and answer. So this is Mr. Joel Chavez, over 25 years of experience. He's also a real estate investor himself, has bought multiple homes, flipped them, also has some properties renting out as well. And so we're gonna be just doing a question and answer and turning it over to Mr. Chavez now for a quick intro.
They got it there. Hello, everyone. Just want to say, first of all, thank you for your service. You got that one out? Okay. And I've been, like Sora said, I've been in this business for 25 years. I am a mortgage lender, and 85% of my business is real estate business. So I deal a lot with real estate agents on a daily basis. And like he said, he just came back from Cabo. I just came back from Cancun. And I actually worked from there. I didn't stop working. So pretty much we are self-employed, like he said. So there's no need to be punching in, punching out. But it is a business where you have to make sure that you show up on a daily basis. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks, Sora, for inviting me. And I guess we're going to go to questions and answers, Sora.
Yep. So I'll open up with questions, and anyone else that if you have a question, he's licensed here in Arizona as well as California. But over 25 years of experience. So regardless of where you are, he'll be able to answer those questions. Experience with VA, FHA, all the different flavors of loans. And he's had a real passion for like making miracles happen for people that have been here for a long time and just never bought a property before and horrible credit, or people that are first generation Americans that migrated from Mexico or wherever they came from and having a hard time buying a home because they have no credit at all, and just making miracles happen. So whatever questions you have, you can use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen. It has a little smiley face with a plus sign that says reactions. You click on that. It'll bring up a little hand gestures. Click the raise hand button, and I'll call on you in the order that you raise your hand. Another option is to drop your question in the chat box. But all right, so I'll open up with the first question. What are the words of wisdom you have for new agents that are just stepping into the business based off of experiences you've had with people who are relatively new to the business?
Okay, so I've had some new agents that come into this business. Excuse me. They try to learn everything. That's kind of one of the biggest faults. They try to learn all the laws, all the regulations, all the rules. My suggestion is get your feet wet. Start marketing. The first thing that you need to do is send out your business cards to everybody that you know. Get a contract and get your feet wet, and then you'll be learning the laws. You'll have mentors teaching you everything. But the first step, I would say, is get out there and get business. Be consistent, be proactive, get creative. Yes, follow all regulations, but at the same time, that's not going to get you the business.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, getting out there, talking to people to get wrapped up in flashy things and being on every single law, which is great. But yeah, definitely, my first year, I definitely learned.
You're not going to know everything, but just if someone asks something, just to get back to them. Make sure you tell them, hey, I'll follow up on that and get back to you. And make sure you do in a timely manner. But very important, just go out there, hustle, get business from relatives. Hanging fruit, your relatives, friends, someone knows someone that is looking to purchase.
All right, we'll go to our first question. You can unmute yourself, and go ahead and ask your question.